Hi everybody, my name is Ambrosia Matthews and I am a psychic medium and a channel. So I'm going to go over a little bit of how this all started. How did I become psychic? How did I become a medium? What's the difference? What the heck does it mean to channel? All of that jazz. So why do I have the meditation music on? Because I like it. That's all. No big deal. Anyway, so I have been able to communicate with the other side since I was 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around there. I remember being a little child and hearing people ask me for help and realizing there was no one else in the room with me and being terrified. I remember very specifically being alone in a room and feeling like someone was with me and just bolting out of the room. When I was in high school, I saw some really horrific things, meaning that I started seeing how people were going to pass away. I started seeing other people that have passed away, and it was so vivid and so real in front of me that it really freaked me out. It really scared me. I grew up in San Diego, California, and there was this one particular time where we were underneath a freeway passing, and there was a scene playing out on top of the freeway, and I was telling everybody what had happened. And when I was done telling everybody, one of the kids came over to us and said, "Hey, did you guys hear what happened here?" And he told everybody, and everybody looked at me and said, "How did you know that?" And I said, "Because I'm watching it play out in front of me." So people still didn't believe me. They thought it was crazy. They thought I was like making it up. They thought it was bullshit, whatever. And I was really scared of it. So when I fast forward to meeting my husband and telling him, I can see dead people. Like you have to tell him something really serious. It's kind of funny. I always thought that it would get worse. I always thought that I would be able to see them like the movie The Sixth Sense. And so that really freaked me out. That really scared me. And so I tell my husband that I can connect to people that have passed away and all of those things. And he tells me, "Well, I think you should look into this." I do. I think that you should have someone help you, not be so afraid. And so I got my first teacher, who was a shaman, and she said to me, "I can help you with your fear, and your fear is related to past lives and things of that nature, but I'm not a psychic and I'm not a medium, I'm a shaman, and so we're not going to work together for a long time." And so she did help me with some near-death traumas that I had and a few different traumas that came up. She helped me move out of that and really helped me understand. It doesn't happen as much now, but at the time it was happening. Almost every time I would look at someone, their face would morph into something or someone else. So I would see like an animal, or I would see a different person. I would see like guides. I would see everything change. And so what she was explaining to me was I was seeing their soul. I was seeing a part of who their soul is. And so there were just so many questions I had. So many things. Why has this happened? Does it happen to everybody? How can I tune it down? How can I get rid of it? Like, that was always my question. And then I had another teacher. And that was an interesting experience for almost 2 years. It was an interesting experience. It wasn't always positive. It taught me a lot of fear. She really made me feel like there was something really mentally wrong with me. She made me feel like that it was just a lot of, I feel like, karmic stuff between the two of us. And so I pushed it down again for a while. And then I got another teacher. And this teacher was very kind and very patient and very sweet. And she made me feel like you're normal, like there's nothing wrong with you, everything's okay. And that is when I met my business partner, Alexa. I had a story. I was listening to the Positive Head podcast, and I had a story about reincarnation at the time. And I'll tell that story. If you comment below, I can tell that story. I have it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I have it on all my platforms. But essentially, my daughter came back with very specific memories of how she was my grandmother the last time she was alive. And she had a message for my mom. So I shared that story on this podcast, and that's how I met Alexa. And so her and I started talking, and we decided that I was telling her how alone I felt, and I didn't have any friends in my area that believed what I believed, and she felt the same way. And then we decided to start a podcast called Inner Bloom, which is cute that I have that. And she started to encourage me to go do live Facebook readings. And she started to encourage me to do readings for $20, really minimal cost. And it was great, and it worked out really well. And so we started doing that, and then we started doing retreats, and it was really fun. Really liked it. And that's how I started channeling. So if you were to ask me 6 years ago, if you were to ask me, do I believe in aliens, I would literally tell you to stop talking. They can hear you. Don't say anything else. I don't want to get abducted. I was freaked out about it because I knew it felt like the same feeling of being afraid of people that have passed away, because I knew it was so real, and I was just like, I'm just not going to face this one. So I'm doing a reading for Alexa. I'm on the phone with her, just like this. And I hear a voice tell me to turn the phone this way. And as they tell me to turn the phone that way, I started spontaneously channeling. My voice changed, and the person on the other end that was me says something along the lines of, I don't even remember it exactly. Alexa remembers it better than I do, but when Alexa speaks, we listen. When we speak, Alexa listens. Something along those lines. And they started saying they were answering her question because I wasn't understanding it. And then I turned the phone back, and I was like, what just happened? And she's like, what was that? And we were both kind of freaking out, like, oh my God, like girls at a sleepover, like, what? What's going on? And so then we wanted to see now that I think about it very scientifically, can we replicate this? How can we make this happen again? And so we started playing around with it. We started asking, how can I do this again? And I started spontaneously channeling. Before that, I had never heard of what channeling was. I had heard of Abraham Hicks, but I did not know that that's what was happening. Didn't know it. Because if I had known that Abraham Hicks was, the Abraham part of it was a different being, I don't think I would have listened to the messages that came in. I knew of Abraham Hicks from the Law of Attraction, and for a while I thought that was Esther. I didn't know there was two different beings happening. So, naive. So, anywho, we found out a few things. We asked about Gaia in the beginning, Earth. They told us not to worry about Gaia. It's not our mission, and that Gaia can take care of herself. And here we are. She sure can. We asked them who they were. I saw an image, and I heard Arcturian, which later turned into the Arcturian blue image that you see. It felt like they were about 8 to 10 feet tall, and we noticed that once we started to communicate with them, different personalities came out each time. And so we asked them, how many of you are there? They said the number 9, and so we came up with the name, the Arc-9. We have since discovered that I do communicate with an Arcturian council of some sort. So here we are with this journey so far. I can tell you that if you are someone that is intuitive and you are saying, please let it stop, don't do that, because it's the most beautiful gift. And I spent way too many years praying for it to go away. And I'm so glad it didn't. And if you don't believe in ETs, here's a little bit of my personality to show you the difference between when I'm channeling and when I'm not channeling. I am working on recording a session. We have another group meeting tomorrow night, so I'm working on recording a session so you can see the transition that actually happens. It's about a 5-minute transition where I go into like a trance meditation state, and then they start coming through. But if you are interested, we have Patreons, Inner Bloom Podcast, and you can actually be a part of the conversation, the Arc-9. Shoot me your questions or write your comments below. I'd love to chat with you. Bye.